Okay, here is attempt number 2 at finishing up game number 1. I was about 15 minutes in on that last thing. I'm going to... I was probably spend another half hour talking, so I'm going to try to remember everything I was saying and pick up where I was and finish the thoughts that I had started in the last video. So I was talking about how you guys could Realm Warp, take Realm Warp up behind the Vi. Obviously, if this exact fight right here breaks out, then you can't do that. But you could take Rise and Rise and Gragas back to the back of this pit, and then Realm Warp over here, and then just gank by while she's under that tower, and then keep your bot lane in bot to counter their bot lane. And I think at this point I already talked about Rift Herald and getting vision control around it, so I'm not going to talk about it again. Okay. Sorry, I'm just trying to continue my thought. Now that I've been talking for 2 hours. Because I don't want to repeat myself, but I want to make sure I cover everything that I was wanting to cover. The main points, as I was trying to talk about at the end of the video for game 1, that wound up, OBS just decided it didn't want to work. The main points for this game are vision control, something I brought up, and I'll bring this up again while this is playing out. So, when I started playing the game, way back in like Season 2, it was brought up to me, this concept about vision, it was brought up to me, and the question was proposed: if you have vision of the entire map, do you ever die to a gank? And the answer is obviously no. Pause this, so I don't miss anything important. This is actually a fight that I wanted to talk about, so I'll come back to it in a second. So if you have vision of the entire map, do you ever die to a gank? And the answer is no. If you can see the enemies at all times, you're not going to die to a gank. Now, I don't know how long you guys have been playing, but back in Season 3, I want you to look at the support builds here, alright? Look at their inventories. It is boots and wards. The entire thing. Support gold income items didn't exist yet, so what they did is they spent all of their money on wards. They were incredibly squishy. They died a lot. Like, you had to have incredibly good positioning on a support, even though engaged supports were still popular at the time, like Alistair and stuff. Oh yeah, this is back when Gragas was a really good mid laner. And so that's kind of this reason why they made ward limits on champions. You can only have 3 wards out per character, and then 1 pink ward out, is because supports in solo queue were constantly flamed if there was ever not vision of any part of the map, even though warding is supposed to be a team effort. And so this is just how high-level play looked back then, is it would just be only supports buying all of the wards, and they would not have items. And this is why support for so long was an undesired role, and I mean, it still kind of is, but people will do it more often now than they used to. So you guys need to always be buying. If you go back and there's an empty slot in your inventory and you have 75 gold, that needs to be a control board, no matter what role you're in. Even if you already have a control board on the map, you need to have one in your inventory. For 2 reasons. One, because where you're going to need that vision control is going to change as you're playing the game. So if you get your control ward down on Dragon, and Dragon's already dead, you might need to replace it even without that control ward getting cleared by the enemy. The second thing you can do is, if an enemy is clearing your control ward, you can put another one down to replace it before they get the money for clearing your ward. Which is a super cheesy thing. It denies them like 25 gold. It's not that big of a deal, but it's the small thing. You move your vision control at the same time denying them, and you still got the information of where they are. and still wasting their time on a couple auto attacks on overboard. Alright, now let's back up and talk about this fight. I just talk about vision a lot, and vision's the most important thing, the key factor I was wanting to talk about for this game. But yeah, I think this is where you had the Gragas had a really good flash body slam on the Lulu that started this fight off. Yeah, Lulu just gets completely caught out here by body slam flash, and just immediately shit on. Rakan flashes over, CC's Orianna, which this is all fine. And then Orianna flashes over this wall, and this is where things kind of start getting sketchy. It's because you guys get really split up here. You go 2 and 2 on opposite sides here, and then Gragas is just kind of stuck over the wall getting hit by Jinx. So Maokai comes in with a really good flank here. He's about to ult, and it's covers like this whole area, hits both of them in the ult. This is something you guys really need to continue to try to avoid. You get hit by 3 or 4 man Orianna ults like 5 times this game, and somehow still win just because the Orianna was so far behind that she's not able to have the damage that she needs. But it was a really unfortunate wombo that kind of murdered Rakan, the Orianna ult into the Jinx ult, followed by Vi. But luckily the Maokai flank came in and kind of cleans up here. And some micro here that Jinx could be, that Xayah could be doing differently is while Vi is rooted up down here and Maokai is up here, Xayah needs to be attack moving this direction to get behind Maokai so Vi can't Q into her. And then this Orianna play here, I need to change Fog of War to appropriate. Maokai does this very well, and just shuts down Orianna, and I believe the kill even gets fed over to Xayah. Yeah, which is great. So that fight overall goes well. There was some bad positioning in the middle of the fight, but it started off very well with a clean engage from Gragas, and it ended very well with a clean flank from Maokai. But like right now, so right here, Xayah should be recalling because Dragon's almost up. What the dragon is? It's an Inferno Drake, so it's the most important Drake. Especially for a team comp like yours, you've got a better team fighting team comp than they do. So you want that extra damage, you want to be forced in team fight, so you want to get that Inferno Drake. So Xayah, after shoving it that way, you know you're not going to get the pressure of the tower. And you're already sitting on 1,600 gold, so you've got enough gold to finish up your Shiv, or your Hurricane, which you should actually get a Hurricane. Hurricane on Xayah is nuts. So you need to recall, finish that, buy a pink ward, go to Dragon. And Maokai, even though he doesn't have a pink ward in his inventory, he's only sitting on 1,200, it's not super imperative he goes back, because he can't finish his Randuins yet. So he can just already start moving down. He has his trinket up, so he can clear the Scryer's Bloom and put a ward over here, or just put a ward right here, and start securing this vision around the Dragon Pit. And then Xayah recalls, Xayah and Rakan start walking back, and then if things get sketchy, Ryze has respawned and can Realm Warp the team back over here. Actually, Ryze should just use Realm Warp anyways. As soon as Ryze gets up and gets in position, Xayah, Rakan, and Ryze should all be Realm Warping into the Dragon Pit. But instead, Xayah goes and gets Raptors, which is completely unnecessary. You need to be looking at your gold, and this is especially important on junglers too. Looking at what camps do you need to clear before you back. It's important for laners to know like how much gold you get out of a minion wave, assuming that you hit the last hits. And then you need to know just like what your item timings are, how much gold you need. To recall, Vi completely walked into you here. Like looking at them, they had complete vision of this area. I have no idea why Vi just walked into you for no reason. And then you guys can brute force this tower down. It's a really good dive. And I was saying earlier how I don't like Rise because of how high the barrier of execution on him is, and it's so easy to mess up. But if you're going to continue playing Rise, that kind of Realm Warp is exactly what I want to see. And like I mentioned earlier with Diving Vine, like I mentioned later with stopping Mundo from pushing on bot lane, you could use Realm Warp more effectively, more frequently. And that's really what separates Rise from just other mages, is being able to use Realm Warp. Okay, and this is something I want to talk about here as well. So let me just pause right fast and finish up my thought about Realm Warp. So what separates Rise from other mobile mages? Realm Warp can take your team places. So it's like an Aurelian Soul because he has a lot of wave clear, a lot of burst damage, and can basically teleport around the map. But it's Tom Kinch in the sense that he can bring friends with him. And it's something you really need to abuse if you're going to be playing Rise, is bringing teammates in behind the enemy team. And sometimes you'll even use it to escape, which is always fun. Alright, now moving into this play here. Xayah should be looking to flash onto Orianna. So right here is when you should flash. You flash this ball, you don't take any damage, and you immediately kill Orianna. Now, this fight turns out fine, but if you flash the ball and don't take any damage, it's just child's play. Because you've already got your Executioner's calling, so Mundo just doesn't get to do anything. He just gets to sit there and die. Lulu can't come in. Nobody else is around. And then right after this, you guys can look to smash down these outer turrets on either top, mid, or pressure and Baron. Looks like that Rise died. That's a sloppy Gragas ult. It doesn't matter. It's not relevant. Gragas' ult's going to be back up before anything matters about it. Gragas' ult's hard to use effectively, so you need to put a lot more practice in with the champion to get good about the missile speed and trajectory that it sends people on. It's not easy to get used to. Let's see. You guys can use that. Watching the next week for no reason. Unless you guys come mid, right? You guys can force them out, and I think you get mid tower here. No, you don't get mid tower until after you get your second Inferno Drake. So right now you need to be clearing your jungle. You've got blue and red buff up. You need to be able to get those. You've got enough wave clear. You shove out the wave. Minion waves only spawn once every 30 seconds. It doesn't take 30 seconds to move over to your blue buff with Rise and take it. Move over to red buff with Xayah and take it. You take the buffs at the same time in between the waves when you're back in the mid lane defending it. Xayah never needs to be bot lane while Baron's up and Dragon's not, especially against Mundo, because Mundo has teleport. What needs to happen here is Rise or Maokai need to be bottom, and Xayah needs to be with the team. So you guys are kind of getting pulled apart by a split push right here, by a jungler, which should be very easy to avoid. So Vi's going to go ahead and get that tower without you guys being able to put any pressure down. When you see them split up like that, if you... Oh yeah, right. This was a sloppy engage because Xayah wasn't there and you just weren't able to blend the CC that was necessary onto the appropriate members. And it's not an engage that should be gone for. The engage should have happened sooner, and Xayah should have been bottom. If Xayah's not bottom and you see Vi clear top, while Maokai's bottom, okay, Maokai has teleport up. Mundo cannot stop a teleport. He has no CC. So Mundo just has to match teleport, and Mundo teleporting in is way less impressive than a Maokai, because Maokai's got an entire lane worth of CC. So if Maokai's bottom, matching Mundo, and you see Vi appear top, you can try to get a Gragas engage. If Gragas gets a good barrel, then you start channeling TP. Mundo has to match the TP because he can't stop your TP. Or if Mundo begins TPing first, you root him with W and then you just TP. You'll take damage while you're channeling it, but your Maokai, he's not going to kill you. And then you come into the fight, you ult, and you completely lock down their team. Vi's not there, it's a 5v4, I mean a 5v3, and it's an easy cleanup. Now what happens here instead is you guys get caught by yet another like 3-4 man Orianna ult. You get massively chunked out. You try to pull back the fight a little bit anyways, but this is the fight where once you take this kind of damage, and you have the option to just leave, and Gragas' ult should be used here just to push the enemies away from the tower, and not fight. Like, you guys start re-engaging here for no reason. You're already too low. You need to just pull back. You need to just pull back and hold the tower. And, because with Gragas' ult, they shouldn't be able to take the tower. Luckily, you're still able to take the Inferno Drake. I have no idea why they don't get it. It was pretty free for them, but whatever. So, if you guys did just pull back after that massive Orianna ult, then you can just kind of start setting up vision around Dragon. I don't know if I've already mentioned it in this video, or if it was when I was recording this the first time. When you're wanting to go to set up, I definitely want to talk about this here. When you're wanting to go to set up vision for an objective to take either Dragon or Baron or whatever, you need to be setting up vision a minute before it spawns, and you need to be there ready to take it 10 seconds before it spawns if you have priority. Obviously, if you're down, you can't just sit around there for 10 seconds and wait for it to spawn, because that gives the enemy time to position around you and they can fight you. But if you're ahead, like you are in this game, you can easily do that and clear out the vision, and you need to make sure that you have the pink wards in your inventory ready to go, which is why it's frequently a good idea to buy 2 of them at a time, so you can always just have them ready. I think you can have up to 3 in your inventory at a time. And here, the blue trinket, what's it called, Farsight Totem, should get used on the Baron already. You never want to trade just a Fire Drake for a Baron. The only Drake that's reasonable to trade for Baron is Elder. Obviously you want the second Inferno Drake, but you should have already had vision on the Baron. You have the Farsight Totem for specifically this reason. Also, Gragas is sitting on 5 wards in his inventory. He has the green smite, and he has 2 charges on his green trinket. As soon as you buy a green smite, you need to get a sweeping lens. Even if you're not level 9, get a sweeping lens, so when you're level 9, change it to an oracle lens. But as soon as you have that green smite, you need to change out your totem. You need to be able to clear out enemy vision. And so it's even more like crazy that you don't have vision on Baron when you have this many wards in your inventory. So you just definitely need to make sure that you always have vision on Baron. They managed to take it, but I'm pretty sure you guys win this fight anyways. Because double Inferno is just super strong. Let's look at the fight here. So they take it. This ult manages to catch Vi, and you guys chase down Vi and Lulu and kill them. Gragas like zones out Maokai over here, Mundo over here. Oh yeah, and we just kind of like died. So now both of the neutral objectives are off the map. The only other objectives are Maokai will just walk through that bush and there's a control ward in it. It didn't clear. This is why you attack, move in and out of bushes. Okay. That was just a quick aside. Always attack, move in and out of bushes. We're about to see just how strong double Inferno Drake is with Xayah on these towers. Coming up soon, she just clears both mid towers really quickly. Anyways, so both neutral objectives are off the map. So you need to be looking to what you can do against Baron with these towers. And I think I was trying to explain during the game that you can 1-3-1 with Maokai on top and Ryze on bottom. It's very important that you put the Ryze against the Mundo, because like you saw in this game, Maokai does not have the wave clear to handle the Mundo with Baron. But Ryze has way more mana, can shit out way more damage onto the minion wave, even though it's Baron buffed. That Maokai just can't. So Maokai needs to be pressuring top tower, while Ryze is countering Mundo down in bot lane, because he has teleport. He also has Realm Warp if he needs it. well, you have 3 people in mid, and like I said, you should expect to lose at least 1 tower to a Baron. It's kind of nuts that they aren't able to get the mid tier 1 while they can get a bottom inhibitor. That's their misplay, while also being your misplay. Like, it's their fault that they weren't able to get a mid outer, and it's your fault that you let them get an inhibitor turret, just because the Rise was splitting top instead of being on bottom. Okay, here, when you see Vi top, you can, the 3 of you that are in mid can just go bottom and collapse on Mundo is another option that you have. But other than that, so like you do this 1-3-1 with Maokai in top and Rise against Mundo in bottom, so when they're pushing with 4 people, because it should be 4 people, Vi shouldn't be top ever, onto this mid tower, and then once it gets low, you can pull your people back, or you can just let it fall, and it's fine to let it fall. It doesn't matter that much, especially since it's already so low. It's, you know, only mildly bad. But it's the kind of thing that you should expect to happen when somebody has a Baron. But you guys, oh yeah, Gragas gets a sweet ult here in a second, and that's actually how you guys wind up winning the fight. These are the kind of Gragas ults that you need to practice more. And again, the ults are hard to land, because the missile speed is kind of easy to dodge if somebody's paying attention. I think you managed to land this ult onto somebody that has flash up. I'm about to see as they push this wave in. Which they're sieging just fine, it's just the fact that they don't have Vi here for no reason. Yeah, Jinx has flash, there's no reason that that should ever hit her, but those are the kind of things that you need to practice even more, just getting those things down. It's really good, and you guys sweep this fight. Now what needs to immediately happen is Rise and Gragas need to Realm Warp bottom behind Mundo and 3v1 him, because Xayah with double Inferno completely shits on these towers. And so Mundo could be dying right now to Realm Warp positioning, because he's not going to be able to run away from the CC that Rise, between Rise and Maokai and Gragas, he doesn't get to move. That is basically permanent uptime on a root. And then when the 2 roots aren't up, then there's the Gragas body slam. Yeah, so Xayah manages to take down 2 towers in like 30 seconds, 45 seconds. You managed to kill Vi here, but there's not really any reason to be chasing her down, because again, you should just follow Rise with Realm Warp bottom to stop Mundo. Unfortunately, he did get the inhibitor turret, but that's not too big of a deal. Getting an inhibitor turret is very different from actually getting the inhibitor, obviously. That doesn't create nearly as much pressure in the lane. Now you guys ping out that the Mountain Drake spawning in less than a minute, so this is where you should already be getting control wards and getting vision around the dragon, in preparing for it. Because Baron's up in under 2 minutes, and Mountain Drake is going to help you take it. You've already got double Inferno. Getting Mountain Drake is going to make you just completely obliterate the Baron and obliterate any towers, because Xayah is going to be doing just hella damage. So they actually have Rise against Mundo now, which is good. Also, Rise is under leveled, so getting him to solo XP is good. Yeah, you guys should already be in front of the Dragon Pit, not in mid against the Orianna. They get this dragon because you just didn't respond. You just didn't get the vision wards down, and you just didn't even move to it. You were too worried about the Orianna wave clear. And getting pulled apart by that Mundo split push. You need to learn how to respond to split pushes better, and at the same time as you learn to respond to split pushes, you're going to learn how to execute split pushes better, and vice versa. Just as you learn to execute them, you learn how to respond to them. I talk about this a lot in the video for Game 2, which you probably watched first, since I uploaded it first. Just learning how to actually execute on the different split push types. Split pushing is different just based on the team comp, which side of the map you're on. Red and blue side split pushing is different. and then you can do any sort of permutation of 131 and 041. It just depends on the state of the map, and that gets very difficult to read. It's obviously high-level shit that a lot of even pro teams just fuck up. But here, you should also already have vision on Baron. And so, this is something I talked about a lot the first time I was going through this video that didn't record. So what you should be doing here, it's too difficult for you to siege down this inhibitor tower Bear. Top tower has, looks like 650 health, right? So it's got just a couple autos from Xayah, because Xayah's sitting on fucking over 300 AD, alright? That's a handful of autos and the tower drops. So what you should be doing here is escorting this wave up to about where their tier 2 would be if it was still standing, okay? And then you walk up this way through the jungle. You put a ward down in the raptor bush. You blue trinket this bush right here. You put a control ward in this bush, and you put a ward in this bush, and you sweep out their jungle, because we're assuming that this is an Oracle lens, and we're assuming this is an Oracle lens, but they already should have been, and we're assuming that you have control wards in your inventory, like somebody should have. And so you walk up this way, while getting this vision control down, you take this tower. They have literally no way to walk into you without you seeing them except through the lane, and if they're walking through the lane, it's going to take them way too long to respond. You take the tower, you move down the Baron, and then you control ward in the Baron. If you don't have any more control wards, maybe you have the sweeping lens back up because one of these sweeping lens got used in the jungle, and the other one should be back up by now to use on the Baron. You clear out their vision. You have total vision control over their jungle. If they're not close to you, you just take the Baron because you have, assuming you get that last Mountain Drake, you've got 2 Infernals and a Mountain. And even with just 2 Infernals, the Baron doesn't stand a chance against this fed Xayah. You burst down the Baron if they aren't in position. If they are in position, you just bait it because you have the vision control over it. And so it's actually like positioning you can do in the Baron pit based on like how they might be coming in with a team composition like this. So obviously, if you have something like a Thresh or a Blitzcrank, this is going to change. It makes it super easy. But you've got Rise, you've got Maokai, which can be standing here. Like either of them can be standing here. You see somebody walk up this way, and then you just root them here. Maokai can like W, and then he can R, and Rise can W, and then Rise starts channeling Realm Warp. And you guys get behind them based on how their team is coming in is where you Realm Warp either over here or over here, and then you just win the team fight. And then you either, depending on how hard you win the team fight, if you kill 2 of them, you peel out the new Baron. If you kill 4 of them, you just shove in and take mid inhibitor. So instead, there's a team fight that happens in mid instead. That was a good ult from Xayah, dodging the Vi Q. All in all, I think this fight's pretty unnecessary, and you guys are really far ahead in double Inferno Drake. Xayah's not getting enough DPS down. You backed off too far when you ulted to dodge. You should just be up autoing. Also, yet another Orianna ult that hits pretty much the entire team. But I mentioned at how Static Shiv, or at least I think I mentioned at how Runon's Hurricane on Xayah is better than Static Shiv, and this team fight's a prime example of that. You would have been able to get down a lot more DPS with a Runon's Hurricane than the Shiv. Also, like, Runon's applies on hit effects, right? And you get this Executioner's Calling, so you just get to put that down on the whole team, pretty much. It's just a really good item. Runon's Hurricane is crazy good. You want to look at the stats, like, side by side of the items. So you've got Runon's Hurricane, 40% attack speed, 30% crit, 7% movement speed. So it's got more attack speed and more movement speed for the same crit. And there's just no way that the Shiv Lightning is better than having the extra bolts. There's just no way. Like, Runon's Hurricane's just better. the only champion Runon's Hurricane doesn't like synergize with. The only AD carry that Runon's doesn't work really well on is Vayne, just because it doesn't do anything for Silver Bolt, since Silver Bolts can only be on one enemy at a time. And you guys run it down here and in pretty cleanly. The only thing I have to say about this is, like, Rakan should use the shield on Maokai here instead of Eing on Desire. But other than that, this end is super clean after winning that fight. But I do want to say, like, the reason I don't like team fights like that, those kind of sketchy team fights, is if you don't have 2 Infernos, if you have 2 of any other dragon, that team fight goes differently. Or if they don't have 2 mountains, if they have 2 Infernos and you have 2 mountains, that Orianna ult wins them the team fight. So that's just why I don't like those sort of team fights, those coin flippy team fights. I'd rather go for the vision denial, the take the tower in top lane, play around Baron, force them to come to you, make them make a mistake, and don't force plays. I guess is the general idea that I want to get across. Alright, sorry if I seem salty. I think I've been talking for too long now. So, let me know if you have any questions, if there's anything else I need to elaborate more on. After this patch comes out, I want to work with each of you individually. I haven't been spending a lot of time talking about micro, because I want to do that on an individual basis. There's not really much point in calling out individual micro errors in these games. You know, it just puts pressure on people for no reason. But while you guys are solo duo queuing, as soon as preseason hits, I want to watch your games. I want to be playing with you, and I want, you know, custom games, things like that. Really work on micro on an individual basis.